I know for most of you clicking on this lesson, the first question on your mind is probably, what the heck even is a UTM variable? And if that's you, you're in the right place. In this lesson, we're going to dig into UTM variables and why they're important. Then I'm going to run you through how to set up UTM tracking. You'll first turn on the tracking feature, then create a UTM tracking URL, and finally, set up automatic UTM tracking in your emails. I'll also show you where all of this data is stored in your contacts records. Normally I'd do a little lead in here about why it's important to learn this stuff, but instead I'm just going to jump into our first step with a basic question. What is a UTM variable? UTM stands for Urchin Tracking Module. Urchin is the name of the company that Google bought back towards the beginning of time that they then turned into Google Analytics, which frankly isn't something you need to know, but you can sound smart at conferences now. What is important is knowing that UTM variables are a more or less universally accepted online marketing tracking method, used by everyone from Google on down. They're designed to help you see which of your marketing efforts are bringing you the most visitors, leads, and/or sales. In more practical terms, UTM variables are the extra text that you add to the end of your links used in your marketing that turn a link like this into something more like this. Now, those appended bits of nonsense are the UTM variables. They're passed in the URL to your site and picked up by Ontraport's tracking script, as well as by other tools like Google Analytics. Then they're presented back to you in fancy reporting that tells you which of your marketing efforts brought in the page visit. They can do this because of those 5 different variables seen in the adjusted link: source, medium, campaign, content, and term. Source is meant to represent the platform that the link is being used on. So if you were to post a link to Facebook, then this would be Facebook. Or if it was in an email from Ontraport, you could say Ontraport. Medium tells you what sort of media brought in the traffic. So on Facebook, it could be a normal post or a CPC ad, or for email, you'll probably just say email. Campaign is simply the name of your campaign. In this example, we're promoting a rabies vaccine for pets from our vet clinic. Content is a variable typically used to identify which ad brought in the click. The best way to describe this is with an example. So, let's say you're a vet and you're running a Facebook ad campaign promoting bringing your pets in for their rabies vaccines. Let's say within that campaign you have 5 different ads. The content variable tells you which of the ads the visitor clicked on. Term is used to identify the keyword you're bidding on in search advertising. More generally, though, it tells you who you were targeting with this particular link. So, in the case of something like Facebook advertising, where you're often not bidding on a single specific term, you can also use it to identify the name of your targeted audience. In the case of email, maybe you can use it to identify the segment of your list that the email was sent to. The reason we have 5 different variables instead of 1 that simply identifies the ad itself is that down the road, you'll want to be able to compare not just one ad against another, but you'll want to be able to compare whole lead sources against others or figure out which media worked the best. For example, you may run the same ad on Facebook and Google and YouTube and Instagram, and it's important to know whether the ad works, but also which platform it worked best on. The same goes for something like campaign. You may have a single campaign with 10 different ads on 3 different sources. Some ads may work better than others, but you'll want to be able to look at the results of the campaign as a whole. And having separate UTM variables for campaign will make that possible. This is a good time to also mention that all of these variables are optional. You can simply leave one off and the others will still track the same. Okay, now that you have an understanding of what I'm talking about here, I'm going to show you how this all works inside of Ontraport. First, you'll turn on tracking. Do this by going to your user profile, hitting Administration, and then Advanced Features. Find the tracking option and toggle it on. This adds a tracking tab in your main navigation bar and preps you for the next steps. Now you'll create a UTM tracked link. Go ahead and click on the Tracking tab and then click on the Add New Tracking URL button. You'll see a bunch of fields that you can fill out, starting with website URL. This is the URL that you want to send your traffic to. Next, you'll see a different dropdown for each of the 5 UTM variables that we just discussed. You'll want to go through each one and fill it out. One important note, though, before you do, is that Ontraport will save each new value in the dropdowns so that you can easily reuse them. But this also means that if you have a typo in your variable or use some sort of a different capitalization, it'll show up twice in the same dropdown. This can get ugly pretty fast, so do yourself a favor right at the beginning and double check all of this stuff. Once you've entered all the information, click the Create URL button and Ontraport will generate your new link. And then you can click Add Copy to Clipboard and put that link where it belongs. Maybe you want to place it in one of your ads or blog posts. One last step is to make sure the page you're sending the link to has your Ontraport tracking script on it. If you're using a page built inside of Ontraport's page editor, then this is already done for you. But if you're using a third-party page, you'll need to copy and paste the script into the body of your page. You can do this by going to the administration page and then selecting Developer Preferences and Resources and Get Tracking Code. Next, you'll enable automatic email UTM tracking. In email links, there's an extra feature that'll make life a little easier for you. Ontraport can actually automatically attach UTM variables to every link in your email so that you don't have to go through the process of doing it yourself, as long as you turn on this feature, which is pretty cool, right? To turn it on, go to one of your email messages, then click Settings and check the box that says Add Tracking to the links in this email. Once you click that checkbox, your emails automatically add UTM variables to all the links. This is a good time to pause and take a look at where this data is stored in the contact record. You'll find this data under Lead Information inside a contact record. The first thing you'll notice is that there are two types of UTM variables saved inside of the records, first and last. This is because there are a few different ways to think about marketing attribution value. So for example, let's say that somebody saw one of your ads last year and opted in to receive more information about your product, but maybe they didn't end up making a purchase. Let's say that last week they saw a different one of your ads, clicked on it, and bought from you. That's good information for us to know as marketers. We want to know the most recent link they clicked on, especially if it led to a sale. But there is value in knowing what it was about those older ads or links that initially drew people in, even if they didn't end up buying at the time. How you determine value is up to you, but you can rest easy knowing that Ontraport is keeping an eye out for everything. The first set of variables labeled with first will update upon a new contact's first clicked and won't update again. This is to preserve the tracking information from the link that brought them to your business in the first place. Quick note though, if a new lead comes to your site and opts in organically, which in other words means without clicking a UTM tracked link, these fields will be blank, and they're going to stay blank so that you're not accidentally counting false positives in your marketing results. The set of variables labeled last will update every time a contact clicks a new UTM tracked link. This shows you the most up-to-date campaign that they've interacted with and gives you an idea of what's working in your marketing strategy. Awesome. You've learned what a UTM variable is and why it's important, as well as how to set up tracking, build UTM links, and turn on automatic email link tracking. You also know where this data lives inside of your Ontraport contact records. The next step is to replace your marketing links with UTM tracked links. Then, in videos like Automation Performance Mode Advanced Topics, I'll cover how this data can be used to slice and dice your reporting and show you exactly what is and isn't working. But first, we're going to learn how to set up deep funnel conversion tracking to really take your marketing attribution to the next level.